Hello everyone. Today we'll be studying maxima and minima, which means that if I give you a function, alright, then what are the maximum and minimum values of this function? How can you find them? Okay. So now let's start with a general function. Okay. So these are the axes. This is f of x. This is x. This is the axis, and just say you have this kind of function. Okay, it's completely arbitrary, but the important thing is that function doesn't have any sharp peak, something like this, or is some discontinuous, no gaps, no sharp peaks and no gaps. That will be our assumption, and this is a very real assumption. All right, now as you can see, this function has two peaks, or a peak and a valley. All right, and let us say this peak here, this maxima, okay, maximum value is at x1, let us say, and this minimum value, minima of this function is at, so this y value will be f of x2, and this point will be f of x1. And now let us inspect the function at around x1 and x2, in the neighborhood of x1 and x2. So imagine that you are a person, okay, which is walking in a hilly area, and this hilly area is greenish in color. It is given by this function f of x. Alright, now as you approach a maximum value, your function is increasing. Alright, and after you have reached the peak, you have reached the highest point, your function will go down, just like a hill. Now let us consider slopes around this point, around x1. So if your function is increasing before x1, so for x1, part of this function which is lesser than x1, your function is increasing. So will your slope be positive or negative? Think about it. Your slope must be positive. It's how much you rise upon how much you run. So both are positive in this case. Now what happens after x1? Well, after x1, you see, okay, it's steep, it's downward, it's going downward. So from this point, your slope is negative. Alright, which means so positive line is in this direction, slope is positive, line is in this direction, slope is negative. And now your slope also changes gradually. What I mean is, slope is positive, so let me just draw this line. This is the x-axis, and let this marker represent the slope. So before x1, your slope is positive, which means the function is increasing, and it becomes lesser and lesser positive. You can see in this area the slope is not as steep as the slope here. Okay. And then after x1, it becomes negative, and it becomes increasingly negative, or the main part is it becomes positive before x1 and negative after x1. What is the slope right at x1? Well, obviously intuitively 0, right? And even if you draw a tangent right at this point, x1 comma f of x1, you will see this is a line parallel to your x-axis, which means the slope is 0. And similarly, this logic can be extended to your minimum value of x, or minima. The slope before x2, the minimum point, is negative, is downward. Okay, something like this. So if function is decreasing, your slope after you have crossed x2, after you have gone through the minimum, the valley, it starts to increase. Okay, it becomes positive. Function starts to increase, the slope becomes positive. And in between, right at x2, right at your minimum, it becomes 0. And yes, that we have developed a method in this using this intuitive explanations. How? Well, you just take your function, okay, and you find out the slopes, which means differentiate your function with respect to x. Okay, differentiate. What is slope? Is the differentiation of f of x with respect to x. Okay, so you find this is the slope, and then you equate it to 0. All right. Why did we equate it to 0? Because at your maximum and at your minimum, your slopes are 0, and by slope we mean df by dx should be 0. And now we use this condition to find out values of x. So after this we find values of x, and we get some values, and you just put these values into f of x. But you are missing something here. Why? Because this slope is 0 at 2 points, your maximum and minimum. So how do we differentiate between your maximum and minimum? Well, in most cases, and especially physics, you can see by inspecting the situation that okay, this has to maximize at some point, it won't be minimum, or if it's minimum, it's obviously 0. We'll see it using an example. So this problem is taken from Concepts of Physics. Okay, so the height as a function of time for a particle which is moving upward. So if you have this marker, and if I throw it, so it gives you the height as time passes. So your clock, you start your clock at t equal to 0 when it's just left, all right, and then you start the timer increases, your height is given by this function. It increases or decreases. Okay, and now we need to find the maximum minimum values of x. Well, if you look at this situation, it's very obvious that your h will go to a maximum value, and then it will start to decrease. So it will first increase, it will reach a maximum value, and then decrease, right? That's what happens when you throw an object. So we are finding h maximum, all right, and for minimum it's obviously at t equal to 0, it's just 0. And at another value, you want to find where h of t is equal to 0, just equate it to 0, you get a quadratic equation in t, find the solutions. But we need to find the maximum. So let's do a standard procedure, differentiate h of t with respect to time. Okay, so d by dt h of t, okay, and we differentiate this entire expression. So d by dt ut minus half gt square. Okay, and we studied the properties of derivatives. This is d by dt ut minus d by dt half gt square. Now u and g are constants, okay, and those who might know what they are, this is the initial velocity and this is the acceleration due to gravity, but we need not worry about these things right now. So if u is a constant, you can pull this u out of this differentiation. Similarly, you can do it with half g, 1 by 2g. You can pull this out of your differentiation, and you are left with u d by dt, okay, minus half 1 by 2g d by dt t square. Okay, now if you remember the differentiation of x to the n with respect to n, you will do this can do this for sure. So t by dx of x to the n, okay, is n x to the n minus 1. So if n is equal to 1, you get this quantity becomes 0, and you're left with 1. So this is nothing but 1. Okay, and for if you put n equal to 2, you get 2. Okay, you get 2 x to the 1, which is 2x. So d by dt of t square is 2t, and you put 2t, 2 and 2 cancel out, you get minus dt. So dh of t by dt is u minus dt, and now we equate it to 0. So we to find the maximum. Okay, we know it's the maximum in this case. So from this we get t is equal to u by g. Now this means at your time equal to u by g. So if you are given u, if you are given g, you divide the two, you get at this moment, at this time, your h will be maximum. Okay, and what is the maximum value of h? Well, you just put this u by g instead of t in this expression, and you will get the maximum value. So let's see. It's a very easy job now. Okay, we have u of u by g. So I'm replacing t with u by g everywhere. 1 by 2 g t square, so it's u by g, the whole thing square. So it's u square by g minus 1 by 2 again u square by g, because we have a g square in the denominator, g will cancel out. So it's u square by g minus 1 by 2 u square by g, which is u square by 2g. So this is your maximum height attained by a particle if you throw it vertically. And we will also obtain this result using our equations of kinematics. Now, okay, this is I have given you the physics problem. Now, if you want to do it using brute force calculus, okay, in a perfect method, okay, I don't need to go for how the physical quantities vary, but using f of x, can I tell where will have maximum minimum, further classify into maximum minimum? Well, let's see. So look at this point x1 carefully, where we have a maxima. Before x1 slope is positive and after x1 slope is negative. Now we can infer another important property of slope around a maximum, that before maximum it is positive and then it starts to become negative. Okay, so this was positive, it became lesser and lesser positive, it reached 0, and then it started to decrease, it started becoming negative. Now, which means that the slope has a tendency to go towards negative around x1. Right at x1, slope has a tendency to go towards lesser negative values. Now this means your rate of change of slope, okay, not rate of change of your function, rate of change of the slope itself at this point is negative. Okay, we write this down. So rate of change of slope, okay, slope is this df by dx at your maxima is lesser than 0, which means it's negative. Alright, and now from this we have a test. How? The rate of change of slope, which means the differentiation of your slope. Okay, so what is differentiation? It tells you how one quantity changes with respect to x. The slope is how your function changes with respect to x. Now this quantity, okay, how your slope changes with respect to x. This quantity is lesser than 0. Alright, around at your maxima. Okay, very important, crucial. So d by dx of your slope is lesser than 0 at maxima. Now this means d by dx of d by dx f of x lesser than 0. Like we've just written the slope in this form. Another way to write it is, as you might remember, d square by dx square. Okay, f of x lesser than 0. There you have it. Now how to evaluate this? Okay, so first you have f of x. Okay, you take its derivative with respect to x. Okay, d by dx of f, and then you get a function, some function. It may be a constant, and then you differentiate it again, and if this is lesser than 0, you get a maxima. Right, so first check if this is 0. Okay, then differentiate it again, and it should be lesser than 0 to get a maxima. And I have written f of x in red and rest of them in black because I wanted to think of derivative as an operator, not as a function, not as a fraction. Your derivative operates on f to give you slope, and then this derivative acts on slope to give you d square f by dx square. It's also written in this form. Now, what is happening at your minima? The same logic is the same. Before your minima, it's negative. It increases. It becomes 0 at your minima, and then it starts to increase. So at your minima, it has a tendency to increase, which means your rate of change of slope, okay, at your minima is greater than 0. Slope has a tendency to become positive. Okay, so at minima, again, extremely crucial. Now we do the same thing. Your rate of change of slope, so rate of change of x, right? Slope is rate of change of x, f of x, rate of change of slope, this quantity. This is greater than 0. Alright, which means d square by dx square f of x is greater than 0. This is a condition for a minimum. Now let us demonstrate this procedure using an example.